and I think this is going to be something that's impactful for the viewers. If you have a young man that you're raising, this is a topic that I really want y'all to get something from because it changed my life. And I have some confessions to go with that. Simple question, but I think it's going to be impactful for a lot of people. What is a book that you read that changed your life and why? I'm going to go to the person on the bottom making all the noise. Ladies, man, what you got?
You me. Um, the book for me is going to be The Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. 21 Irrefutable Laws. That book changed a lot for me because it made me understand some things. So I'm just going to kind of run through some of the pinpoints that stood out to me. The main thing it helped me to understand is that leadership is an influence, and you have to earn that. So with that coming into play, I learned that when you understand the order of the influence as far as leadership, you got to be knowledgeable. You also got to be coachable. Reason being is because if you're going to lead, you're going to lead from the front and lead by example. Okay. Some of the things that I had to take into context with knowing this leadership is that everybody is just as intelligent as you are. They just probably lack knowledge in that said field. So you gotta teach them, all right? And then they'll be good. People will walk through a brick wall for you if they understand the direction and agree the direction in which you're going as a leader. And you can take that from business to relationship to friendship. They just need to know so communication comes in. Those were some of the things that I learned. I also learned, which is very, very key for me, that no one really cares what you know until they know that you care. And which is going to go back to what I told you. How do they know that you care? Because you take time to show them. And in this instance, it's going to be teaching. So that book did a lot for me. Like I said, everything rises and falls on leadership. That's what it ended with. That was the conclusion for me with that book. Again, like I said, there's some more tidbits in there that just grabbed hold for me, but that book itself put a lot into it for me. Book was it for you?
For who, me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the book that I actually is small. It's the smallest book ever. It's actually an elementary book. And this was something I talked to you about. I talked to Jeremy Jarrell. I talked to everybody about. It's so simple. The premise of the book is so simple but impactful. It is the grasshopper and the ant. In that book, the grasshopper, while the ants worked all through the seasons, the grasshopper played the violin and partied and did whatever he wanted to do, and he laughed at the ants because they work. And then winter came. The ants went in because they've been working all year. They go inside, they're in that party, and they having a little hot chocolate and honey and whatever they eat. And the grasshopper was behind out. And in the end, they ended up having to bring the they had to bring the grasshopper in to save his life and pretty much show him like we work for a reason. Like we work for a reason. And I took a lot from that because like current day, I've always based my life on that because I've seen people that get into their 50s, 60s, and 70s that's still having to work because they ain't worked when they was early or they didn't come up with a good plan. So, when you see people, I've seen people take Jerry, my brother, for instance. He'll probably retire at before the age of 40, full retirement. So I've seen people that have worked hard early before they can play hard later. And I've lived my life by that book. And the second book was the autobiography of Malcolm X. The reason why is because before then, I never saw the evolution of a black man in any book. The man was a manipulator, con artist, pimp, all of those things. But he took you on a journey with his mind after reading a book, after finding spirituality, and that man evolved. And I got to see the blueprint of him evolving. And the Malcolm that returned from Mecca, the man that returned from overseas and came back changed, was the man that I always followed because he grasped it. He understood the concept about all man, humanity, and life. So those two books are the books that are kind of taking me on the journey right now. What about you, Mario?
That Malcolm book was that just piggyback off that before I go. That was a cornerstone in my life too, because you're right. That was the first book I also read that showed me the humbleness of humble beginnings. I was showing that not everybody is ordained at 6 to be great. You know what I'm saying? That book showed you all that, the ups and downs. That was a good book. But I like to read a lot of stuff that get me strong on faith, leadership, and on the life that I feel like I'm finna lead. So I had read T.D. Jakes' Purpose for Life, and that was given to me like by 3 different people. So I had read that, and then it kind of took me to really like. That's why you see me preaching purpose so much, because a lot of people use that word. It's a cliche, but when you really understand that the whole your whole life is built, formed, and even thought about because God had a purpose for everybody to be here. Everything, the trees, the ocean, everything. When you start looking at all that kind of stuff, it kind of gives you a breath of fresh air to understand that all this is just not coming to pass, and that you are built and put with everything that you have to make it through to the end. And that kind of like helps me get through when I think I'm in dire strength or uncontrollable circumstances, that I understood that before I even walked into this problem, God knew I was going to do it. And he already gave me everybody I need and everything I need to get me out. But the book I'm going to really talk about is Crushing. That's T.D. Jakes' book. It's the second series of that. It's Crushing. And I was like, yeah, I read this book already. So I had bought the book. And a friend of my dad's gave it to me. And it took me like 2 or 3 years before I even picked the book up. And I heard another dude just at work just talking about it. I was like, let me read that book. I got that book. Man, listen, I tell every man who is a man who aspires to be great to read this book, because the T.D. Jakes we see now, also like Malcolm X, he goes back to his beginning when he was Malcolm Little, and it shows all his flaws, and even the time that he didn't have so much faith in God, that he questioned God, that he almost turned his back on God. And it shows you that every man gets a point in their faith where it's tested. But the ones who stand strong and stand firm and keep their eye on the prize will make it to the finish line. And that's just a blessed book. And I believe that took my faith to another level. That helped propel me to make changes in my life that I don't think I could have changed on my own. What about you, Chris?
Okay, well, I want to be transparent here. I have, in my adult life, I've never read a book at all. I have an issue where whenever I sit down and try to concentrate, like if I want to read a book or watch a movie, watch TV, I tend to fall asleep. So I don't really read, but I love books and I love learning. So I personally I'm a audiobook kind of guy. I'm about time management. So I'm able to work out and also read books and get information. So for me, it would have to be Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The reason why it resonates for me is because it speaks on 2 mindsets. It speaks on the employee mindset and the employer mindset. Now, the employee mindset is what I call the get money mindset. The get money mindset is when you trade time for money, meaning you may work a job or you may work overtime or you may get a second job or do Uber and Lyft. And there's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is there's only so many hours in the day, and there's only one you. So there's a cap to about to the amount of money you can make, as opposed to the employer mindset, which I call the get rich mindset, is when you start to acquire assets that returns a cash flow, monthly cash flow. When you start to acquire businesses or start businesses and have other people work for you, that makes you money. I believe that that's the mindset, especially as Black men, that we need to get into. There's nothing wrong with having a job, but use that job. I look at it like this: use the job. Think of the job as fuel to put in the car to get to where you want to go. Because again, it preaches on assets and liabilities. I say it over and over again, and I got it from the book. A quick definition of assets and liabilities. Liabilities take money away from you, take money away from your pocket. Assets put money in. Liabilities take money out. Assets put money in. I find that's the mindset that we need to have. So instead of having to get money mindset. Let's have the get rich mindset. That's all I got.
All right. No, that was pretty good. I've never heard of that book, and I thought I knew a lot of books.
Oh,
I want to
one more. The I think
the
it's,
Bible.
no, it's the Science of Getting Rich by somebody Napoleon. I forgot the name, but yeah, you should Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill. Yeah,
Yeah, check that one out too.
that was a good
All
one
right.
too.
Well, the reason we didn't mention the Bible because that is a no-brainer to all the people in the audience. Just want to say that. Two notable books: "Redeemed" by India Crawford was a good book. It's a book, and then the book from our award-winning friend Christina Peters that you often display, Chris, is a good book. "Whining Not Win." Is it "Win Not Whining"?
Yes.
Okay. Listen.
I
All
knew
right.
y'all was gonna run ups, man.
I wish you put up an audio book too.
Yeah. Hey, that's where the money at.
I didn't book save you though.
Oh, matter of fact, since we're talking about it, I will be writing a book soon. It will be called "The Story of Cash Chris." Look out for it. I'm being dead ass serious. I'm not joking about that. I am writing a book.